All right, so here we are. I promised you yesterday I would do a video talking about my favorite shows and songs of the summer, and here we are. Although I feel a little low in this chair. You would think, like I said, man, it's very amateur around here. I don't even have a computer chair right now. I did at one point, I had a good one that I liked, but, it went to hell and I just never replaced it. So this is what we got. Luckily, most of the time we're standing for the whiteboards anyhow. So really, who needs a computer chair, man? As long as you got some whiteboard space, that's all you really need around here. So I think we'll start with, maybe we'll start with the shows. Or should we start with the songs and then go to the shows? Both of them, I felt like my shows especially, a little MSG heavy, but I imagine most people are that way, and it does make sense. The later in the tour it gets, usually the better the shows are. So we'll just go ahead and start right there. And I guess I'll do them in reverse order, from my fifth favorite to my favorite show. So show number 5, MSG number 1. While the encore wasn't great, it did have that stash, Split Open and Melt, even A Wave of Hope. That's not one of my favorite songs, but I gotta say that one was pretty good. Ruby Waves, which is quickly moving up towards the top of my favorite songs. Another great summer for Ruby Waves. So that pretty much was the highlights of MSG Night 1. I'm sure there was others, of course. And then Star Lake number 2 was my fourth favorite show. I'm kind of just basing this on, going back, skimming through my old recaps, looking at the set list, re-listening to some of the shows. And this Star Lake 2, maybe just because of the taste, most events aren't planned. That was the night with a really good encore, Tube and Ghost, had a sand. So Star Lake number 2 turned out to be one of my favorite shows. In fact, my fourth favorite show of the summer. So then we move on, MSG number 7. I'm going to have to pause this in a moment and let the cat out. The 7th night, final night at MSG, final night of the tour. Had a really good Caspian, had the whole Tweezer, Guy Forget thing, had that Harry Hood, and many other things. I like how on the Live Phish app, they actually have the Guy Forget as like the 17.5 minute, kind of the bulk of the Tweezer jam. Then we move on to Alpharetta 3, my second favorite show. Again, Mike's song showing up here in the final 2 shows. Spoiler alert. So that night we got the Mike's Carini in the Week of Paul. We also got Split Open and Melt, a Bathtub Gin in the first set, Sand once again. It seemed like all the good shows this summer, Sand seemed to show up. Maybe not all the good shows, but some of my favorite shows, Sand did indeed seem to show up. So then obviously my favorite show of the summer, night number 6 at Madison Square Garden with the biggest mics. Once again, a Sand. Had a really good encore that night. Had that Antelope in the first set. And that is probably the show that not only so far, but continually will listen to the most. And then along with that Star Lake too, though. A lot of it's the Sand, the taste. The most events aren't planned. So we got MSG 1, Star Lake 2, MSG 7, Alpharetta 3, and MSG 6. Those are my 5 favorites in reverse order. So now let's get over to the songs. Now I'll mention the others, the honorable mentions first, before we get into my favorite songs. The Alpharetta Bathtub Gin, the MSG Fuego, Caspian and Hood, also for Madison Square Garden, and then the Down with Disease at the Man. And, all right, hold on. We got to get a pausation. I got to let this cat out before she goes crazy and distracts me too much. Okay, all right. We're all good. Sometimes she just doesn't want to hear me talk. Other times she'll lay in here and listen. And sometimes I start carrying on about Sand and Carini and Mike's song. And she's like, that's it. I'm out of here. I got there. A little greasy physique it looked like in the camera. All right, so now where were we? And this is not necessarily in any order. Kind of like the shows. The shows, it was a little easier to put them in order, 1 through 5. But these songs, it was much tougher. What do I got here? Looks like I got about a top 9. I guess if you count, in fact, I doubled up on the Tweezer, the Alpharetta, MSG. So basically a top 10. That works out. Then I believe I already mentioned the honorable mentions. Alpharetta Gin, Down with Disease Man, etc. All right, so this is not really in order, but kinda. We'll kinda go from my favorites just on down. And again, if I made this list 3 more times over the next 3 weeks, I would say this order would probably change. But right here, right off the top, I got the Alpharetta Ruby Waves. Following that up with the Wilmington, a song I heard the ocean sing. We got the Carini from the Man, got the Star Lake Stash. Then I got the Tweezer from both Alpharetta and MSG. Apparently they were equally awesome. And then the Wolfman's Brother from MSG. See, this is not in order. We got the Mikes at MSG. We got the Free from Huntsville. And then we got the Kill Devil Falls from Syracuse. I would say maybe the Mike's MSG would get moved up a little bit. The song I heard the ocean sing down. Although that Ruby Waves, the song I heard the ocean sing, and Carini, that was a strong top 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But then Mike's would have to get in there. But I don't know what Mike's would replace. Maybe the song I heard the ocean sing. Now, the longevity doesn't always have to be it, but most of these jams were 20 minutes plus. I believe the Wolfman's was not. The song I heard the ocean sing was not. I think the Alpharetta Gin, which was an honorable mention, was not. Fuego had a couple of really good ones this summer. Couldn't fit it into my absolute favorites, but and same thing with Prince Caspian. And then while I love the Antelopes, didn't necessarily jam. And like I said, Sand had a great summer. Didn't make it into the top 10. So obviously Tweezer dominating the summer again. Got an honorable mention down with Disease. I mean, all right. So I think that pretty much covers it, guys. My 5 favorite shows, and I guess roughly my 10 favorite songs. And then there was many others. There was a good Piper in there. One night had a really good Light. That Taste. Well, I wasn't necessarily jammed out. Let me take a gander here at the whiteboards. Looks like, oh yeah, the Mall. I don't know if we're gonna go with that. The Twist and Down with Disease from that night, yeah. Oh, even the On Pillow Jets, man. I can't believe it, but the later that got into the jam, the better it got. So, all right, guys, that pretty much covers it, you know. If you're looking for something to throw on, I would say the Star Lake Stash or the MSG Wolfman's Brother. The Syracuse Kill Devil Falls. If you're like, man, I got time for a whole show, what's one that I kind of overlooked? Star Lake 2. Peace. As I hit myself in the face. Oh. It was a great summer. And then my least favorite show of the summer was that Wilmington show. I don't know what happened that show, but Syracuse, also a bit of a sleeper. All right, guys. Boom. We're out of here. Love you guys. What a great summer. SPAC and Dicks to come. I don't know what I'll be posting over the next few days or weeks, but it'll be something.